Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2, where we are in the city of Tampere. And I just gotta say, I really love how this downtown is coming together. On the last episode, we built this out. We did this underground freeway entrance that leads all the way to an underground intersection over here, or interchange, that connects up to our highway. And so now our overall connectivity in this area has just ballooned. We did end up upgrading this as well to a highway, and we have a little light right there, which I think is very frustrating. But now people can get all the way from over here, all the way to over here, and it is just fantastic. I'm absolutely loving these details. We also did a couple little details kind of butting up against our tram line over here, which we did also add in that same episode. We did quite a bit. And then we did this little section over here, which I think we may end up playing around with. I think this may be just a little too many gazebos. I don't know. Maybe you tell me, is that too many gazebos? But we have quite a bit to do today. So we need to, first and foremost, do something about our coastline. And I was kind of racking my brain thinking for some inspiration. And I think we're actually going to pull some inspiration from Chicago for this. And so I am super excited. Why don't you guys strap in your seatbelts? Let's go ahead and jump right in. We are going to start dezoning a lot of this. I don't like how small it looks. I think for this little coastal section, what I want to do is draw a little inspiration from Chicago, like I had said, and do a big coastline park, just because I think it's going to help us to capture a really fun feeling in here, create a nice sense of place. People are going to want to come here, and we're going to be adding in quite a few different things. It's going to be super exciting. And so once we have all this dezoned, I'm going to go through and delete all the buildings, and we're going to actually delete all these too. And this would be a huge process. This would probably have to entail like some sort of mega billionaire or super developer purchasing all this land and deciding to redevelop it, because something like this just wouldn't happen in real life, at least not in America. So we're going to go ahead and delete all these. And just a few seconds later, this is what we are left with. And did I remove zoning off that one? I did. And so this definitely is a pretty crazy change. The reason why we did it, though, is because it's going to help us to reshape this area. And so we're now going to go into the forest brush. We're going to click this remove only matching type. And we're just going to hold that right mouse button because we want to remove all of these small little details that I did end up putting in. And we kind of messed up our little walking path up there, which we are going to probably put the trees back. But we want to get rid of most of these little bushes and stuff that I put in here. Now that we have that, let's start looking at our ground first, because it looks like this ground's actually a little bit bumpy. It is. So I wonder if we can not shift terrain. I don't know if that is what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is soften terrain. Yeah, that just seems like a little bit better. I think shifting the terrain there is probably not the call. But we do want to increase this brush size, and we just want to just smoothen it out, make it look a little bit better. We do need to be careful of our key over there because it is going to create some issues. There's definitely a lot of slopes in this area. It's not a problem. It actually does add to the overall character. We just want to try to get it a little bit better. And so we will be going through, you can kind of see this little bump over here. Let's go ahead and get rid of these middle roads for right now, because we want to readdress a lot of these ones that are just kind of messed up. And so let's now go back to our soften terrain tool and see if we can get this a little bit better. And you can kind of see it definitely smoothed out a lot of that already. And so just by drawing in the roads, we're going to get a much better approach now. What I'm thinking, we first need to redraw this in. This is a pretty important connection for us. So we're going to come down, and I want to keep it level pretty much exactly where it was before, but we do want it to be at a 90 degree right there. And then we're going to connect this up down there. It's a really good connection, and it's also a one-way, so this is something that we do need. We are going to be adding in a sports stadium down here, and so we are going to want to ensure connectivity. Connectivity is super important, especially for downtowns. You can really snowball into some pretty crazy traffic if you don't pay attention to these little details. All right, so I think we are now at a place where we can start drawing in some roads. We are going to be utilizing this alleyway for a lot of these roads, and the reason why we're doing that is because it's just going to allow us to capture a little bit of a better look for this. So we do want to bring this down, and we want to make sure that this is going to look okay first. So we're going to go right there, and then we are going to go to the right and go just like that. Let's go ahead and check that out. So that actually looks pretty good. So we could also bring this down. I don't think we're going to, because what I want to create is kind of a step with a bunch of taller buildings. This would be prime real estate for a lot of people. And so that's kind of what we're going for here. So I want to now come in here and then turn this up, and we're going to connect it up right where the tram line is. Yeah, perfect. And so we do want to make sure that these aren't going to get all bumpy like they were before. And so now let's go ahead and draw this across as well. I think we may even, let's go ahead and do this because it's just going to allow us to kind of break that up a little bit. You can see we still have a little bit of bumps going on in there. Again, this isn't going to be the end of the world, but it is something that we do want to pay attention to. So I think what we're going to end up doing is a big festival ground right here. And I want to kind of break this up just a little bit for us to get some parking in. I think it's going to be smart. And so we're going to now bring this all the way across and create a little bit of these small squares in there. And we do want to make sure that that was 90 degrees. I'm pretty sure that was, it kind of looks like it is. Yeah, it was perfect. Let's go ahead and start focusing on some of these buildings first. And to do so, we are definitely going to have to play around with some of our zonings. And this is something that is a little bit tricky in this game, but it's definitely going to be important for us. So we now want to bring this all the way back so we can get full zoning on this side. And we want to do a large 6x6 office building. So we want to do 6 blocks by 6 blocks. And then we want to try to create like we want to have taller buildings, but at the same time, we want to create a little bit of a step. So we're going to go just like that. And then we're going to do this. And the reason we're doing this is because this is a main boulevard right here. We definitely want there to be some sort of shops and stuff like that on that side. So now what we're going to do, we are actually going to have a path go all the way up here and connect up there. And we're actually going to utilize this path. We're going to decorate it up a little bit. And I want to get a taller 6x6 residential building in here. This is going to be really important for us. Let's go ahead and unpause so that we can start getting all these people who are migrating away and we can start getting these buildings in. And so we're going to do some low rent housing. And then I think we're going to do this. Yeah, perfect. It grew all the way in. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and do a mixed use right there, just because I feel like it's going to be a really good use of that land. And then let's draw this all the way up, connect it with that. Fantastic. Man, you can see all these people leaving. All their homes were taken. Look, they're so upset. We deleted so many things at once. All these people are having a hard time. They're like, I was at work and now there's nowhere to go. Man, our whole bus system is going to just be inundated with all these people. This is going to be a problem. And so now let's go ahead and butt this up on the other side because it's going to create just that nice look for us. And we might be able to actually delete this side now and have the path go up from here, just because this is going to provide a little bit of a better look for us. Yeah, if we go just like that, fantastic. And then actually allows us to upgrade these buildings just a little bit more. And so one of the things that I want to try to avoid is this. I don't really want this like before and after. And so the easiest way to do that is actually to cut your zoning. So if you go and upgrade this a little bit more. So let's actually do a 6x6 office because we want there to be a tall building. And again, this would be pretty expensive real estate for these people. I think these buildings look good though, and I like the overall height of them. I think it looks fantastic. I do want to potentially merge these two. And so let's see if we can get maybe a high density commercial in there. Yeah, that could be good. But now what this does is it opens the opportunity for us to zone on this other side. And one of the cool ways to do this without any sort of mods is to actually just go like that and cut it. And so I think we'll actually cut this all the way across. Yeah, we'll go just like that. Fantastic. And then that way we can grab this and do some more high density. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of an issue. I don't think there's a bunch of 3x3s for these. So we'll go ahead and get rid of those. And then let's do just a small bit. We'll probably do a 2x2. 2x3. Yeah, we'll go just like that. And we want this to flip. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Nice. And so now that we have that, we can go ahead and get rid of this little pathway in there. Be kind of nice if we could squeeze a path in there, but I think there's potentially going to be an issue. But I think we can turn on anarchy. Yeah, we can. And then that way we can come this way. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. And then for this area, what we're going to do is actually put in a community pool. This is something that you do tend to see sometimes in big downtowns. You'll have like community centers and stuff like that. And I think it's just a really nice addition. Where is it? Yeah, it's under sports. And we're going to add the community pool right in here. But the problem is it looks like we made this just a little bit too big. So we are going to delete that. We want to be able to put this right here. And this is for multiple reasons. So you do tend to see like big community parks or community centers like this within like large green spaces. It is something that is pretty common. And so now that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add in some small pathways, and I'm going to do just some small designs with this. We want to just try to make it look a little bit better. We're going to go ahead and turn this into a festival ground. And so I am going to turn off snapping, and we're going to come down here, and I am on continuous. So I get a little bit of a curve. I want to put that like right about there, and then we're going to have this bow in the opposite direction. And we do want to add in a couple other smaller parks in here. I want to get the small park. Let's go ahead and add in the playground. So we will add in the playground on this side. Perfect. And let's go ahead and turn off anarchy just so that we're not building these on top of roads. That could be bad. I want to get the dog park somewhere, so we're going to add that right there. Fantastic. And then let's get a couple of these smaller sports arenas. So I want to put this in like right in here, but because of the snapping, of course, it doesn't want to work. So we're going to put that right there. And then I would like to get the tennis one in here as well. This one's actually quite a bit bigger, so this might be a little bit of an issue for us. But I think that this is really going to help to complete the look for this area. So we are going to place that right in here. And it's so funny. Once you start using anarchy, it's like you always have to have anarchy. For some reason, anarchy just throws this game into like a big spiral. Like it just doesn't work out that well. But it's such a great tool that, I continue to use it, even though it does have problems within the game. And so we are now going to place this right there. So we have a little basketball community. We have this. I think this is looking awesome already. So let's get back to pathways. We are going to draw one going this way, and we're going to go ahead and continue it on the other side. We're going to go just like this. Fantastic. And then we are going to have this come down. We're going to have this one come down as well. And I want to have this one kind of butt off into a little bit of a curve just to provide a little bit of interest for this. And then we will have this connect up right there. Perfect. And we will have this curve down. And this is just a really easy way to make your parks just look a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go ahead and leave this empty for right now. I don't really want to get too crazy with that. And I think we are going to end up putting in a big building over here. We're going to go ahead and do an office. So we are going to draw that in. Let's go ahead and unpause, see what this gives us. So it does look like we got a little bit of a smaller zoning on this one side. I would like to get this last little bit, but honestly, I don't know if we're going to. I ended up putting in a small bit of mixed use in there. You can kind of see that the mixed use actually has a really nice look. So if we grab this, let's go ahead and move this just a little bit closer. And what this is going to do is provide a little bit more space for us to do something off this backside. And so you can see all three of these ended up getting patios. I don't really want that. I want taller, more dense uses. So we're going to go ahead and do 3 of the mixed use, and then we are going to go ahead and draw on this backside as well. So we're going to go just like this. Let's go ahead and unzone that. I want full zoning off of that, which it doesn't look like we are going to get. Let's go ahead and rezone that in. I wonder if we can just delete these and get something better. We can't. And so let's see if we can get some office in there. Maybe I think we can get a 3x3 for office space. I'm guessing there's just not a lot of 3x3s. We'll go ahead and leave it like that for now. We will see what it grows in. And then we're going to come back through here and do a lot of smaller fixes once we do get everything in there. And so for these 3, I had a few pretty cool ideas. So the first one, if we go into tourist attractions, we have this water park option, which I think looks really cool. I personally think it is an awesome addition to this pier. So if we go ahead and add that right there, let's see what kind of zoning we're dealing with. So we have a little bit of zoning off this backside. What I want to do is do high density commercial. And we could do a parking space right there. That could be smart. Let's go ahead and do a big high density commercial. What we're going to do is see what this brings in. We're going to end up doing trees around the outside as well, just to kind of make it look a little bit better. We also want to slide this closer to the road. And I'm thinking a parking lot would probably be good right there because of its proximity to the park, though. What I would really like to get is some zoning. I think zoning would just be a little bit better for this section. So if we go like that, let's see what we can get. So that did pretty good. So now we can get rid of that, draw this across and get it to flip sides. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. That is just fantastic. So now we can delete all that. Let's go ahead and draw this in, see what we get. We're already getting some little small businesses in here. And this is kind of what I was going for. Because of its proximity to the water park, a lot of times you just get a bunch of little shops like souvenir shops, hotels, stuff like that. And so these ones that are like each other, what I want to do is just kind of demolish them. And we want to get a new building in there. And while we are allowing that to grow, and we want to move on to another location. And so what I was thinking for this one is actually using the large city park. I think it's just going to be a really nice addition for this area. Especially what we're going to do is actually go into find it, and we are going to go into props. We're going to go into surfaces and areas, and we're going to grab this concrete. We're actually not going to be drawing concrete. what I'm going to be doing is just moving this out. So I want to leave a little bit of a gap around the outside to provide some tree space or something like that. We are probably going to do some tiling as well. I would like to get like some sort of food stall. It'd be like a food truck court of some kind. We don't have a food truck court, and so I don't think we're going to be able to do that, but we're going to be able to do the stalls like we did downtown. And so now all I'm doing is adding in some concrete around this outside. And I'm going to be careful not to just blanket it around. It is something that I was doing quite a bit, but I do find that it's better if you cut your segments like this rather than just having them go all the way across. Yeah, look at that. That looks awesome. I actually really like that a lot. I think what I'm even going to do, so if we bring this down just a little bit more, we can have it go across. So if we go just like this, let's get it at a 90. We can bring this down, go like that, and then bring this back, go like this. And then now we can actually stretch this across. And I think this is just a little bit too far down. So if I go like this, I think it's going to be a little bit of a better look. We don't really want to be like all the way out. Bring this up and make it a little bit more accentuated. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like the overall peel. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side as well. There we go. Perfect. I think that looks really good. And so now we can actually go in, and what I'm going to do is just add in some tiles, and then I'll show you guys like some saws and stuff like that. Just some really basic details you can do to really make your place look a lot better. All right, so about 20 minutes later, I am finished, and I took a little bit of a different approach. So I did some tiling in here, but I created some fun shapes. I did extend the concrete out a little bit, and then I put in some food stalls with some benches. I did some more trees. I added in a lot of trees to the park to kind of shade a lot of these gazebos and to just create some spaces for people to come, and maybe they're going to study or read a book or something like that. Or maybe you're just bringing a dog, or you're just having a nice day with your family. I did do these garden lights all the way around as well because I'm using them more like a bollard. Like this would protect the people from cars driving into the park. And I think it just looks a little bit better. It helps to kind of accentuate a lot of those lines. And I did have it follow the concrete in the front, kind of leave the grassy areas open. But go ahead and let me know what you guys think. This really wasn't too difficult to do. And it really just makes it look a lot better. Like just by adding in those few little steps, we have turned a regular park into something that just really accentuates this area a lot. And so now let's go ahead and move on to the next part. And what that is, I want to do a sports park. We don't have anything major, and I was kind of playing around with this for a while. And I think that this is just going to be a really good location for us to put the football stadium. I think this is just going to be an awesome spot. So if we figure out how we can get this in here, I think if we cycle toggling off, what we can do is rotate this around. We do want it to pretty much stick in this corner pretty well. I think we can get it. Yeah, right there. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and click that. And we're going to do something similar to this side. I do want to create like a fan zone. Like you do end up having a lot of tailgating and stuff at American football or even soccer. I'm sure they have tailgating as well. So we'll put in stalls and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to do any shopping or anything over here just yet. But we are going to add in some parking over here. And in order to do so, let's go ahead and pause because we're going to play around with this road layout a little bit. We're going to get rid of that, and then we're going to go into the landscaping tools. And I want to level out a portion of this. And the reason we're doing this is because we're actually going to have this kind of go around rather than just be in this little area. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and soften up this side because we need the road to be able to make it up, which is super important. All right, so what we're going to need to do is draw this road across. And I really wanted to just connect up right over here. It's going to create a little bit of an issue. You can see that it just doesn't want to do it because of the slope. So what we can do is actually have it go like right here, and then I'm going to have it curve down. So if we start from this direction, what we can do is zoom out, and we want to be kind of in the middle of this. And then we're going to have it connect up, and we want to bring it back a little bit because it creates that curve. And so we did kind of create a little bit of an issue in there. What I'm going to do is just redraw this in so that it looks a little bit better. So we want to do 180. We want to bring it all the way over here. Fantastic. And now we can go straight. And this is really what we're trying to do here. So we want to go straight, and it looks like we separated just a little bit. One of the ways to combat that is to just go use the straight tool. I do tend to stick in continuous quite a bit, but it is something that can cause a little bit of an issue for you. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade this road. We don't really need it to be a big road at this point, but we do want to connect this up. So we're going to go ahead and go 180. And we're going to go this way, and then we're going to begin to curve it down. So just like that, and then have it dump into the road. And so I do want to check that out, just to make sure that we don't have any sort of crazy hills. And we do. So what we're going to do is just bring that back, go into the landscaping tools and create a slope. And you want to be careful, decrease your brush size. We're going to right click at our destination and then have this follow all the way down. This is just going to help us to capture a more realistic slope rather than having that crazy kind of bump in there. And this actually allows us to create something that's going to look a little cool in here. I'm actually pretty excited about this. This really helps to kind of bring this whole area together rather than just that weird space that we had. So we're going to go ahead and level out a space, and we need parking. So what we're going to do is actually go into our development points and grab the underground parking building. I feel like this is going to be a good spot for it. It's really close to the water, so I'm not really sure if they would do an underground parking building. Maybe one of you guys know. But we are going to put it in here because I think it just looks pretty good for this area. We may even be able to do this one too. And of course I placed it down. Didn't really mean to do that. Let's move this around. I think this is going to be too big for this area. Yeah. So if we go like this, and then let's go ahead and hit that page down button. All right. So we are going to bring that hillside all the way back, and we are going to actually play with this a little bit more. So we're going to put in a pathway that it's going to have some key walls on here so that we can fill in this available space. And so what I was initially thinking is we're just going to do the underground. I do kind of want to see if this is going to fit. I really don't think it's going to. It's a really big building. I think it would look better overall, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too close. So if we go like this, let's just see. I kind of want to see if there's a way for us to get this. So like if we upgraded this road, maybe if we go back here and let's upgrade it to the key wall, let's just go key wall all the way around for right now. Yeah, we'll go just like that. Man, this actually has good potential to look pretty cool. I didn't think that this was initially going to be part of the plan, but I'm glad that we tried it because I do think that it is going to look a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is right click right here, and I want to create a little bit of a slope in there. You can see we kind of messed up our shoreline a little bit, which isn't really the end of the world. We do still need to come in here and kind of clean up some of these, but let's see if we can get a road in here because we really need access. Access is going to be pretty important for us. So if we go like that, and then I wonder if we can go like this. Let's see how terrible this is going to look. Let's just see. Is this going to be bad? No, you know what? That's actually not that bad. And I like that this actually kind of butts up against that key wall. I honestly think this works out a little bit better than what I was initially planning. I think this looks really good. And I think right next to this as well, it definitely provides a lot for this area. We do need it to read on the road though, which it did. Perfect. We are kind of overlapping the road a little bit. I'm not too concerned with that just because this isn't going to come too much of a problem, but whenever we do build in this area, now they're going to read this as being in the wrong location. And so it is something that we're just going to have to deal with. And so I think this is coming together pretty nicely. We do need to add in some trees around this side, kind of clean it up. And then I do want to add in that small little fan fest area. But I think for right now, let's go ahead and move on to our little festival grounds. So what we're going to do, we are going to bring this all the way down. And then I want to begin to curve it at this point. So I want there to be an entrance up there, and I want there to be an entrance on the backside, just because this is going to provide some walking areas for people. We're actually going to have people walking through here, which is going to look cool. So let's see if we can connect this up. Fantastic. And then we will go and grab this little stage. You can also just search it up. It's called a stage small. I don't know why they called it stage small without having a stage large. Makes me wonder, is there? Nope, stage small. And so we want to create 3 different zones, and we actually want these to be different colors. So we're going to go just like that. We're going to go just like this. And then I think we're going to go ahead. We could even do this area down here. Yeah, we're going to do this area. We're going to do 4. This wasn't a part of the plan, but we're going to go ahead and do it just because we want to get crazy with this. Voila. And so it looks like now all this area is going to be part of the zone. And so what we need to do is actually put up a fence. So I'm going to go ahead and type in fence. You could also just go to the fences tab and just start scrolling through them. What I want is the industrial fence that has the barbed wire at the top. Because one of the things with festivals, a lot of times, people try to sneak in. And so they try their best to block the gates as best they can. We do need to go to continuous. We have a little bit of a curve here. And just a few moments later, I am finished with the fence. And so now what we'll do, you just grab the move it tool, and we just need to shift these so that it just looks a little bit better. And this one in particular, we probably want an opening. I'm not really sure though. I think an opening would probably be a huge benefit for our festival area. So we'll go like this, and then let's go ahead and grab the picker mod, grab this little fence. We're in single use mode, and we want to just connect these up. And one of the reasons I even thought about this was because in Las Vegas, there's actually a few festival grounds that they'll just sit empty for most of the year, because when they get rented, it generates enough income to help support the empty lot for the other half of the year. There's actually a few in Vegas, right on the Las Vegas Strip. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and start creating a few small spaces. And so just a few seconds later, I have laid out some grounds for us to have like some spaces for people to walk on. I do wish that there was a little bit better of like a diffusion in here. What I'm trying to create is more like maybe a mat. A lot of times whenever you're dealing with festivals, they try to protect the ground by either covering it or turning it into something that is a little bit more resilient. And so I could have just done concrete on the whole thing, but I didn't feel like that was going to be the best approach. And so now what I would like to do, I do want to get a few different assets that are just going to help us to dress this up. We do need to do a little bit of scrolling though. So if I go in for patio, you can see that you get these backyard patios, but these a lot of times can look like they are some sort of like VIP area. So what I want to do is just click around until we find one that is just empty, like that one. So this right there looks awesome. And so this would just be like a VIP area. And so I'm just going to go ahead and click through those as many times as I can until I get a bunch of these. And just a few seconds later, I ended up with quite a few. And so the easiest way was just kind of click them out, click a bunch of them in a row, and then just see how it works. And so this is going to operate like a tree or like a prop. And so we do need to actually raise it up and line it up as well as we can. We'll go just like this. That is looking pretty good. And for some reason, the pixels are just not working out really well on that. And so I'm just going to basically push these all around our little stages so that we can create some VIP areas. Because this would be something that, at pretty much every festival I've ever been to, they have some sort of area that you can get into where you pay more. So that's really, the whole point of this is just money. And so they try to maximize their money as much as possible with like advertising dollars and stuff like this, where you can pay more to view more. And voila, just a few moments later, we are looking pretty good on these. And so now what I want to do is just put in some stalls. I'm going to do some lights around and then put in some trees and really bring this all together. And voila, about an hour later, I feel pretty good about it. So I ended up doing little couches on these areas. I did lights going all the way around. I did a little outhouse city over here, since these tend to be pretty common in festival areas. And honestly, this might not even be enough if this was a huge festival. Did some lights going in the middle, and overall, I think it looks really good. I ended up doing like some big stadium lights along with the smaller lights. Because one of the things I do remember is like it goes late into night, and when it's over, they end up turning on all the lights, which is actually kind of a crazy moment. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think. Man, we're really doing a lot of details on this. We're going to keep a lot of the smaller details until later. And so let's go ahead and move on. I really want to start working on some of these other areas that we need to get some of these steps in before we jump into a detailing time lapse. And so what I'm looking at is this little area over here. I think that this is just really lacking. And so let's go ahead and look at some of the zoning first and see what we're working with. So we have a bunch of smaller zoning. I wonder if we can just delete these and let this come in and see what it's going to do now. So so you can see that this definitely opened up quite a bit of zoning. So what we could do now is actually come off this backside and do a little pathway down just to get that full zoning. And so let's do a larger 4x4 slot over here. I think 4x4 is good. Yep. And then let's do a 4x4 of that. And let's put the corner as mixed use. Yeah, there you go. And what this is going to do is just create a little bit of a step pattern for over here so that it just looks a little bit better. I think for this little section over here too, we need to get a taller building in here. So if we go like this and then delete that, it's actually, oh, there you go. Perfect. I was going to say, it's not going to give us a taller building. And honestly, I don't even know if that's going to be a taller building. We may need to just do office space, because a lot of times they'll just give you those buildings that have grounds instead of going vertical. And so I think this is looking pretty good so far. We want these to grow in. I think I'm going to get rid of this little section. I think that just does not look good, even in the slightest, because we could do just like a small park in here and it was just going to look a lot better. So if we go into here and do maybe like the playground or something, I wish there was a really small plaza. I think the plaza would look good. We may even do that. I'll probably just draw in a plaza because I think that's just going to look a little bit better. because we might even be able to, I wonder if we get rid of this, what is this going to do? Nice. And so this actually works out a lot better for what we're trying to do here. So we are probably going to do, let's go ahead and do high density and see what it comes with. So we definitely have a couple little squares in here. Let's try mixed use on these sections and see if it will fill in the available space. I don't know if it's going to, but we can see. So we're close. We're definitely close. I wonder now if we delete that and let's get rid of this, it should give us just a little bit of zoning on the other side. It did, but I'm not really worried about that. I think we're going to do some paths in here and just kind of clean it up, make it look a little bit better. And overall, I think our downtown is definitely coming together. We definitely need to do something about this little section in here. I'm thinking if we add just a little thing of office, it'll help to kind of break this up a bit. And then let's go ahead and fill this in as well. And I'm tempted, if we go like that, what is that going to give us? Because they're a little bit smaller, I think it is going to look good. But yeah, you know what? I think this is already coming together so nicely. While we're waiting for that to happen, I do want to start working on this section as well. This is definitely something that's going to take a long time, but I had received a suggestion on my last episode to do some row housing. And I think row housing is actually going to be really smart because it's going to help us to kind of capture that cascading effect that you kind of want to get with downtowns a lot. And so in order to do it properly, I found that it's a little bit better if you cut your zoning down so that you can get some smaller spaces instead of those backyards. So what we're going to do, we're going to try our best to get right on top of that, and perfect. And so now what we can do is go through here and actually remove all the zoning in here. Perfect. And this is all in the name of progress. This is definitely something that they would probably be upset about. And we did delete a relic in there too, which kind of sucks. But let's go and start building these. I want to do row housing. So we're going to do row housing all the way down right there. Let's go ahead and do row housing right there. And we want to try to remove zoning off of these sides. So what I'm going to do is actually use our little zoning tool. And this is kind of tricky to use. I don't use it a whole lot because it doesn't always work very well. And so I definitely, I try to get it to go like that. And perfect. So now we can go like this. Fantastic. And we can go like this as well. Should we do 2 rows? I'm kind of tempted to do 2 rows. I think maybe if we go like this and then put some small apartments on the other side, it's going to help us to kind of start getting that little cascade, which is going to really go a long way. So let's go ahead and remove zoning here. And then we need to have our road go across. We're going to have it come right down here. We want it to follow. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Perfect. And so we can delete all these homes as well. And this is a really big project. Is this something that would happen in a real city? Probably not. I mean, there would always be somebody who wouldn't want to sell. And it is something that you do see in downtowns, like where they just don't sell. And as a result, you end up with kind of this milgamesh of other things. And, you know, it's funny, I kept my zoning on none. And so this is having some issues now. So if we go into zoning tool, let's see about, oh man, now it's working. You know, it's so funny. I reset my order for my mods inside of my playset. And now all of a sudden my mods are working a lot better. And so if you're playing with mods, I definitely recommend to go into reset order, reset load order, because I think what happens is it makes it so that the game loads more optimized, which I do think that it is something that I wish that they just mentioned, like, hey, do this, but they don't. And so if you haven't done that, please go ahead and do that. It's going to save your life. And so let's go ahead and bring these all the way down now. We're going to leave this empty for right now. And then what we're going to do is the same thing on the other side. So we're going to do 1 row of that. And then we're going to do 1 row of apartments all the way on the other side. And then we will unpause, let the game run just for a little bit, so that we can get all these buildings in. We can kind of come back and readjust it. And just a few seconds later, I am done. And I kind of cut up the spaces a little bit more just to give us a little bit more interest. And so basically what we're going to try to do now, we want to do a row of apartments and we're going to leave it unlocked so that these people can start moving in on their own. And then we will do a small row. I think we're going to do like commercial or something in here. Nothing too crazy. It's just going to give us some small little buildings, which I think is going to be good. So for both sides, I ended up doing the apartment buildings. I kind of wish this was flipped, 2 on this side and then 3 on that side. It's going to create a little bit of an issue for us in terms of heights, but I'm not going to. What we're going to do is wait for it to grow in and we can always come back and adjust it. And there you go. You can see we got full zoning again, which is awesome. And so let's go ahead and do just a little bit of commercial in here as well. Go like that. Fantastic. And then let's actually turn this into a bigger one to kind of see what we get on this corner. We're going to do a bigger low density commercial. So if we go like that, let's go ahead and delete these now and see if we can get everything in. That is fantastic. Let's go ahead and do 2 bits of low density so we can get that full zoning. And this is actually going to look pretty good. So we have apartments coming in, and what we can do to make this look a little bit better is actually just grab. So if we do like a 3x3, let's go ahead and get rid of those. And then what we're doing is mixing in some low rent housing. And the reason we're doing this is because this is where we're going to start getting that step in heights. And so this is how it's going to start looking a little bit better. So if we go like that, let's go ahead and go like this. We'll delete the whole row. And then let's go ahead and add in a couple more over here. Probably one right there, one right there. And these are just going to be slightly taller. They're not going to be that much taller because we could actually do some high density residential as well. I even think maybe this. Let's get rid of this row and then we'll let it grow back in. These might end up being taller than this, which would be amazing. We'll go ahead and try it on this side too, because I think that this is going to end up being the best avenue for this. But we can always come back and change it. I don't want you guys to feel like this is stuck. Like, no, don't do it. No, there's always other ways to go about it. And these are kind of smaller. I almost wish that we could get this a little bit taller. And so what I'm going to do is delete that. And we'll let these grow in. And now we are starting to get a little bit taller. And so what we want to do is we want to start getting full rows of high density in here. And what we're going to do to help make it a little bit better is we're going to start doing some little plops of high density office in here. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's going to really help us to capture a little bit better of a look in here. You can see our high density demand has definitely dove. So I'm almost tempted. I wonder if let's go ahead and do this whole front row as apartments, because we just have a ton of demand for that right now. Yeah, you know what? That's already looking a little bit taller. I like the overall appeal of that. I think that looks awesome. So this is kind of like what we're going for. These like taller kind of buildings in here. And you can see this is like a little bit of an alleyway. So we'll probably do like a walking path or something back there just to clean it up, make it look a little bit better. So if we were to grab this and have this come all the way down, yeah, there you go. So you can just provide a little bit of accessibility. You can kind of see how this is already kind of cleaning up a little bit with this row housing. And then now we're getting these taller buildings in. So you can kind of see these are actually still pretty small, but they're coming in pretty tall. They really don't need a huge footprint. So that's like 3x4, 3x5. And so you can see how just a little baby push can really go a long ways. And so for this section right here, let's go ahead and do this. And we do need to start getting our offices in. So if we go like this, go ahead and do a full row of office. I think over here it might end up proving to be wrong, but we want our demand to go down. Yeah, so that already looks a lot better. I think what we'll do for this section, we're going to focus on commercial for right here. So if we go like that, and then let's go ahead and have this go like this. We really got to be careful with this. This is going to generate a ton of traffic. And so you really got to be careful, which means we're probably going to come back through here and actually change a lot of this so that we can get a little bit better zoning. So if we go like that, we'll get a little row of low density. Let's actually get just a thing of apartments in here just to give it that little scope. And we'll go like that. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, get rid of that. We need to do the same thing over here. And so we need to put in some apartments and do low density. And what we'll do is go around, delete this, and let this grow back in. And so this is actually one of the ways that you can really make your downtown. I know it kind of looks weird right now, but as it grows in, you're going to really see like, man, this is starting to look awesome. And so we do want to come back through here and just kind of squirt a couple of these around again. We want to get some taller buildings kind of scattered through here. And this is really how you're going to get that effect. Not only are you going to get like a rise, but you want to have a couple blocks in here just to make it look more realistic. Cities aren't perfect like this to have this slant. It's just not how it normally works. People build skyscrapers based off of, funds available or needs. So somebody will build an office space when there's office space that needs to be leased. They won't just build a bunch of office space because, there's space. And so we want to do some more apartments right there. And then let's go ahead and I wonder if we can get this. So I wonder what those will come in as. We're going to go ahead and do that. I think this is going to end up having like yards, which we don't really want per se. But these these huge high density commercial buildings are looking really cool. I like these buildings a lot. I think they look awesome. And so for this section, let's go ahead and do just a small bit of high density. This is going to be kind of an issue for us. I wonder if we could eliminate zoning on one side and just make a couple rows. I don't want. So I want this. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, that already looks a lot better. So if we go just like that, what we can do is actually grab our apartments and just go full zoning. Yeah, that's just going to look a little bit better. So if I go like this, we're going to get a bunch of stuff with yards, which isn't really the greatest, but it's just going to help us to capture a little bit of a better look in there. We're going to go ahead and go like this. And then what we're going to do is actually intermingle this with some mixed use just to capture those different looks. So if we go, let's get rid of that. Perfect. And I already think that this overall peel is looking amazing. Not a huge fan of this. I kind of wish that we could have done a better job, but I think for our current purposes, it's okay. And so what we'll do is probably just connect this up with this road down here. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. And then let's go ahead and just delete this. I think it just looks weird to have that right there because we could get full zoning off of this section. Yeah, so if we go, let's turn this into high density commercial. We'll get a nice big building in there, which I think is going to look cool. And we even got like some smaller ones in there, which is awesome. And then let's delete all this. And we do want to put just a couple parks in here too. I was kind of getting ahead of myself. So we do want to do a couple of these small plazas if we can. So I wonder if we could, let's go ahead and turn on snapping and see if we can get one or two in here. Oh, because it doesn't have zoning, it's actually telling me that it's a problem. So there we go. And then we can go ahead and go back here to, right here would be awesome. So if we go turn off snapping, go just like that, fantastic. And I think I'm going to switch these over to high density. The low rent housing, it creates these large parking lots and stuff, which I don't really like the appeal of it. I don't think it looks good. It's one of the biggest problems with American downtowns is there's just too much subsidy for cars. It kind of sucks. We lose both of those buildings. It's not great. Cost of progress sometimes. So we will come back over here now and let's see. I think what we're going to do in here, because it's not attached to the street thing of offices, I think that could be good. I think it would make more sense for it to be off that backside though. So let's actually delete that and see what it's going to give us if we go like this. And then let's go ahead and do this. And we'll do some small ones. Just again, it's going to help us to break that up and just look a little bit better. So far, I think that this is an awesome addition. We have a few pretty big buildings, tourist buildings. We added in the water park, the stadium. We did a couple really big parks. It would be kind of cool if we could get like some more buildings in here. Like I wonder if we could fit the Grand Hotel somewhere. Like this could actually be really cool if we could get it somewhere nice. Like I wonder if even back here, it looks like it's going to be tight, but I wonder. So if we were to delete some space, could we get this building in here? I think we might even be able to fit it in right there. I was kind of playing around with this building before and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'll be able to get it. So if we turn that off, is it just the pathway? Yeah, it is. So if we delete this real quick, and we need to make sure to draw that back in. That's an important connection. Can we place that right there? And how does that look? I mean, is this a building that we want to put like in a focal point? Because I kind of feel like it is. But I honestly think that just in the downtown section, this is going to look pretty good to be right there. Especially, I mean, it looks like this we need to upgrade. Like, I'm not even sure what this is. Well, we kind of messed up. Yeah, so if we delete that, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. It's all in the name of progress. This actually looks cool. I like having that plaza in the middle with these two kind of smaller buildings here. I do kind of wish this one was facing the same direction. I'm tempted to even remove zoning off of these side streets, because I kind of don't really want to choke up traffic off of these. Like you can already see we're getting a little bit of a bottleneck, but I think this is coming together pretty nicely. We're getting a nice little cascading effect. We'll definitely need to probably come over here and readjust some of this. Some of these just don't look good, but I also might be able to just come in here with some details and make it look a little bit better. Probably do a little park right here. Let's see if maybe we could do a plaza too. I think that could be good. Yeah, if we do the plaza. Oh yeah, it'll fit. Perfecto. And let's see. So the National Diet Building. I don't really know if we can fit any of these other bigger buildings in here. I think just by getting the Grand Hotel, we really got a lot. And I think that that's actually a really cool addition. So if you're coming around, you would see this building. It'd be like a really big Marriott or something like that. So we will now grab this, go all the way down, and let's connect this back up. Go just like that. Fantastic. And I'm going to remove zoning off of this road. All right, and so I think that this is a really good stop for today. I think we do need to maybe fill in just a couple of these smaller little spaces. I think I'm going to do some high density commercial in here, just kind of fill it in. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse, and I'm going to just bring a lot of these together. A lot of these smaller details. I'm going to extend our tram little parkway down with the same kind of theming. And then I think I'm going to change some of these as well. Like I think having all these low density kind of things in here just don't look that good. I didn't realize that this was, such a major road, like corridor. Having like large Americanized shopping malls just wouldn't be the most realistic approach. And so I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I'm also going to focus on our waterfront over here. And so I hope you guys enjoy, and I will catch you on the other side. Okay, and so after quite a long time, I am finished. And I just got to say, as for the waterfront, I absolutely love this look. I like that we got the windmill, the Ferris wheel in here. I ended up putting in these buildings over here just to kind of complete this look. I really wanted to go for like a walking district that was going to be on the water. I ended up playing around with a few of these buildings as well, just kind of moving them and making it look a little bit better. I think overall, like if we take a step back and look at our skyline now, this is just a really cool look that I absolutely love. Diving into some of the details, I did end up replicating a lot of the same look that we had for our festival area, just because this would all be kind of under one park area. I did add in a big fountain in here with some bushes, with some benches and a couple little flower pots. I ended up putting in this custom little park area where I put in some of these outdoor patios that are actually for the houses as planters. And then I ended up customizing with some, concrete going around. And I really just wanted to create a nice walking area for people to come and sit, maybe, just enjoy the weather and have a good time. Over here, I just kind of extended a lot of the pathways, did a couple trees with some bushes. And over here, I basically extended the arena a little bit. I wanted to create a fan zone with some little shops and areas. Like these would be for souvenirs and also food. I did a walking path back here. And again, I kind of extended that design theology with the concrete. And overall, I think it looks really good. I like the overall appeal of everything. I added in trees in here. You guys had already seen this. I did some platforms in here as well. And I think it looks fantastic. I did some stadiums for our basketball stadium, for our basketball courts, and for our tennis. So like they could hold championships here, tournaments of any kind. I did some bushes going around here. And I think this looks awesome. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. In the back, I didn't really spend too much time. I honestly spent so much time in the front. I was like, you know what? I'm going to end up just doing this over time because it was going to take so much time to get all this done. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just extend it. And so I think with the buildings, we created a really good framework for our downtown. I really like that we have this industrial port over here kind of leading into our downtown. And then I think we're going to end up playing around with some city service buildings over here. And then we're going to be putting in our university over here. Possibly on the next episode. We still have a lot of stuff that we need to get done, and go ahead and let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy the episode on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.